I'm Miss Susan from the Euless Public Library, and this is STEMtastic Challenge. Each week, I'm going to give you a challenge that you could do at home. It'll be one of the following challenge types: build, engineer, explore, and experiment. This week, we're doing an experiment challenge. For this challenge, you will be doing an experiment. In the video, we'll give you a brief introduction to the science topic and the step-by-step instructions to the experiment. Before you get started, hypothesize what you think will happen in the activity. I encourage you to do your experimenting as a family and discuss your hypothesis and finding. We would love to see your results and findings, so please, once you're done experimenting, post a picture, video, or a description in the comments or use the hashtag STEMtasticChallenge.
Every month, all the challenges will be based on a theme. This month's theme is snowy days. As nights get longer and days get colder, I thought it would be fun to do some wintry snow and ice themed STEM activities. One thing that we worry about here in Texas is ice on the roads. Since we rarely see icy weather or even snow, most of us are not very practiced at driving on icy roads. One way people prevent ice from forming on roads and sidewalks is to put salt on it. Why do you think they do that? Do you think that the salt somehow affects the water and the ice? Do you think that all water freezes at the same temperature? Do you think that you can change how water freezes by adding something to it or by changing its composition? Well, today we're going to experiment with freezing water to see if we can change how fast or slow water freezes by adding other substances to it. This week's challenge is to conduct the freezing water experiment to see which water solution freezes faster: pure water, sugar water, or salt water. To help you get started on your experiment, you first need to know the science of freezing. Freezing happens when a liquid turns into a solid as its temperature reaches its freezing point. Like the snowflake we talked about last week, water freezes by crystallization. Crystallization happens after two different processes: nucleation and crystal growth. During nucleation, the molecules in the substance arrange itself in a pattern characteristic of a crystalline solid, creating a nuclei, allowing for crystal growth, which is the second process. Crystal growth is exactly what it sounds like. It is when the crystalline structure builds upon itself to freeze more of the substance. That is why when you see something freeze, it doesn't freeze all at once. It usually starts at a point and spreads out. For every experiment, you first need to figure out what question do you want to find the answer to. For this experiment, we are trying to see when each solution will freeze. Will they all start freezing at the same time, or will they freeze at different times? In the freezing water experiment, you're trying to see if changing the water composition will change the freezing point. After you figure out what the question is, you need to make a hypothesis on what will happen in the experiment. Which solution do you think will freeze the fastest, and which solution do you think will freeze the slowest? So let's get started on our experiment. The materials you will need to do this experiment is distilled water, salt, sugar, 3 small cups, and a freezer. Here are the instructions. 1. Label 1 cup plain water, 1 salt water, and 1 sugar water. 2. Measure out a half cup of water into each cup. 3. Add 1 tablespoon of salt to the correct cup. Add 1 tablespoon of sugar to the correct cup. 4. Place all cups into the freezer. 5. Check the water every 30 minutes and document the time when the water in each cup reaches freezing. For further experimenting, try the experiment using different types of liquids or using different types of solutes. Remember, solutes is something you dissolve into the solvent, which in this case is the water or another liquid. So that's today's challenge. Was your hypothesis right? Do you have more questions you want to test come up while you are doing your experiment? Can you design an experiment that can test your new questions? Anyways, have fun experimenting. Make sure to write down your observations and findings and discuss it with your family and friends. And don't forget to post a picture, video, or description in the comments or use the hashtag STEMtasticChallenge. We would love to see the new things you have learned about freezing water.